Welcome everybody to our last AI in FETI in 2025. Um, Today we're going to be using some AI tools that some of them we've already addressed, but we're going to be using them with a different objective. So you will see that we're going to focus on supporting students on those areas that normally are not related to the content or to understanding, but are more about how do we learn, how do we plan our coursework, how do we get to be successful on our courses. I say the last in 2025 because we've been renewed for season 2. So next year, starting in the end of January, we will have another series of 7 or 8 AI in FETI. We will be looking into other tools for other uses. We will be looking into same tools that we've looked right now, but definitely because some of them have evolved, we are going to be able to bring up new uses for that. So we are very happy to be renewed, and we hope that you keep joining us for those ones. Today, we are going to be using 2 tools that we've already seen. So I will briefly go back to the Blackboard AI Conversations tool that Jen Stewart presented for us, but I'm going to be showing you how to use it for a different purpose. We're also going to be into Notebook LM, which we've already named a couple of times for how to support, understanding, how to dig deeper into content or to topics. Today, we're going to be using it to support study habits and study modeling study habits, especially. And I'm going to show you one of the tools that we've used this year to create some support for the faculty. So we've created chatbots that are there to support the faculty when they are working on creating their courses, trying to implement active learning. So that would be Build a Bot. And you will see that I will show these tools. 2 of them I will show shortly, Blackboard and Notebook LM, because we already introduced them. One of them I'll take a little bit more time to show you what can be gained by using a tool like that. At the end of the session, you will receive an email with a toolkit that brings you a lot of links to how to learn about these tools, how to revisit the session or see the session if you were not able to attend, about Blackboard AI tools and about Notebook LM, and where to get more information on how to use all these tools. Before we get started, just quickly, what do we mean by metacognition and self-regulation? Metacognition is basically our ability to be aware and control our own thinking process, shortly. Self-regulation is a little bit more on the logistics pragmatic side. It's the ability to plan, monitor, and adjust our learning behavior to achieve specific goals. And we're going to be seeing how these tools can help students do that. What happens is that normally we don't have much time or ways to do these. We assume that, by the way we organize our courses, we are providing for our students kind of like the bare bones, the skeleton of how to study, how to learn these contents in an organized way so they can be successful. We know that doesn't work all the time, and that doesn't work for all the students. AI tools are presenting a lot of opportunities to do these in new ways. So we're going to start with how can we use AI conversations in Blackboard for course planning. How can we help students at the beginning of a course to plan for their work in the course? And how can we maximize that first week of the course to really bring students up to speed? AI tools in Blackboard are multiple, and they are used for different reasons. We are just focusing on the AI conversation tool. For each tool, you know that we bring you a little bit of how you access it, what kind of things you need or requirements. This one is included in our Blackboard, so you only need access to Blackboard. The AI conversation tool helps with creating interactive discussions. That's what basically it does. It does it as an assignment. It is going to allow you to see the process of discussion that the student had with the AI tool, and it also allows you to add a discussion prompt that you can grade at the end of the process. So it's very useful as an assignment. Today, I'm going to give you a different way to use it, a little bit, a slightly different way. So what we're going to do is to help that self-regulation of learning by helping students do that 3-tier process of planning, monitoring, and evaluating. With this tool, we can support that planning for definitely at the beginning of the course. So normally what we do is to write a very comprehensive syllabus, and we all hope that they read it. So I was faculty, full time for almost 20 years. And, we normally got to the point where we know they are not reading the syllabus, and, the it's in the syllabus becomes kind of like almost a joke, right? So what if we had a tool that can help students on the first week? They have the syllabus, they have all the elements of the course. How can we help them? How can we support them in preparing for what they need to do? So I'm going to actually start jumping on and off this presentation. I'm going to show you a couple of things in the process. So I'm going to jump to my screen on using Blackboard. In that screen, basically, you're going to see the sandbox for my course. You're going to see just a regular element here. And I'm going to be able to show you how I'm going to add a discussion at the beginning of the course to do different things for the students and with the students. So first, we're going to create AI conversation. This is the assignment that Blackboard allows you to create. And that is going to give us a three-step process. Normally, the Socratic questioning is very useful as an assignment for anything that you need to do where you need students to use their critical thinking and also kind of like model that critical thinking through the use of the AI in that conversation. This is a great solution. I am more interested in the role play. I'm going to show you why in a second. So when you choose role play AI conversation, it tells you to include a scenario for the students to understand what the scenario for the conversation is, to tell them clearly what their role is, to define well the role of what the AI persona is going to be doing in that scenario. I'm copying here some prompts that I have already generated, and what you are trying to achieve with the scenario. So for this kind of conversation, like this is kind of like something that I think could work, for that. So I'm gonna add a prompt that defines the scenario. So basically, you got a scenario where the student will be interacting with a student success coach that can help they plan their work, and study for the course. That's the scenario. I can define more things. I can say, this is a pharmacology course, for example, and I can create a prompt that it's a little bit more involved, and it tells them that the persona is going to be a student success coach. It tells them what is expected that they need to do. Is the first week of the course, and you need to plan for that. The next thing that I'm going to do is to generate the student persona, and I can generate the student persona. I can edit the image, like I can find a different kind of image for this. It's going to generate some for me based on the space dog right now. So we're not going to use that. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to edit the image based on that. I can also use a stock image, but this is just basically dressing the activity for them to use. The image generation will give you options here. You choose one, and then you now have how the student will see it. The personality trait is where we can actually say, things that we want our persona to interact. I want it to be a student success coach. That's the acting as. It's a positive and supportive personality, and it's engaging with the student. I can define the level of complexity of my answers. So I like to keep it middle high, because in this case, we need a student success coach that knows what they're doing, and not just, an entry level discussion versus a very advanced one. And then I'm going to save it here. You also can create a prompt here, and I will say, you can use the editor to answer that. And the question, is predetermined, or you can change it later as well. So once I save it, it's going to give me the opportunity to preview the chat. And this is something you can do to, test it. So it's my first. How can I be ready for this class. And, like when you do that, it's going to tell you what the AI persona is going to do, and you can preview a little bit of what the students can expect. So, this is a very basic build-up. You can build a scenario much more precisely. You can also tell the persona to act in other ways. For a whole run on how to build personas, and you can do this through Blackboard. You can also do it through UTHSC. Dr. Codways presented for us a session on creating AI agents and assistants. This is another way to do that. So, but now you have an element in your course in the first week that can help students start thinking about how to plan for their work. You can give students more prompts on the expectations, what is expected of them for that conversation. And then you can have a reflection question there that allows for you to measure, have they done the work? As a faculty, you are also going to be able to see the work that they've done and the conversation that they've had. So if you're going to kind of like get an insight into, did they take the assignment more seriously? Did they use the assignment to the best of their ability? That's another way to see it. So coming back into these, we're now going to talk a little bit about how to support students throughout the course. So you get a course, it's a very specific topic. You have a discipline, and it may need to actually require for them to take big multiple choice questions, exams at the end, or create a project. All those things are different ways to approach the materials, but there are tools that are actually allowing you to provide for students a little bit of that. The tool that I want to introduce for kind of like modeling what works for your topic or your discipline, it's NotebookLM. NotebookLM requires a Google account, remember, but you can create one for free. It is free. Most of the features are free. Some features are not, but the ones that you really want is to show students how to use the tool to help them study and to increase their comprehension and to approach topics in an organized way. So it is presented as an AI-powered research assistant, but many of these tools, I can tell you that as an instructional consultant, I can see many other uses that are not part of the main description. And it really creates the opportunity to create study guides, tailored reports, to create different kinds of multimodal content. But today, what we are really, really into is how can we use it to show students how to study, how to progress through a topic to really get a better understanding and knowledge of the topic. So what we're going to be doing is actually basically pushing for that metacognitive knowledge that allows for people to learn a little bit about how the brain learns, but also how we learn in this discipline versus other disciplines better. So we're going to try to tackle, some things that help on the planning, like that, what are the information and resources that are better for that? Also modeling the strategies, the progression of work that you can do in order to understand a topic and learn it better. So for doing that, we're going to go quickly to NotebookLM, and I have a NotebookLM element that I've created, bare bones of it. So let me change that quickly. Now you should be able to see a NotebookLM page. It has active learning versus lecture-based in health science education. That's a NotebookLM that I created to show as an example. So imagine that I have my learners. In my case, my learners are the faculty. So I have different ways to help them approach this topic. At their level, I'm going to have a way to first write a note for them to know how to better use this notebook. And this is where you use your expertise to model the progression. This is where you can tell your students, start by doing this, check these elements, and, practice in this way, test yourself, see how you're doing, and then bring to class any kind of like questions that are still kind of like lingering for you. This is not the only thing you do with them. This is support to their learning progress and their coursework. So in this notebook, I want you to focus today on these 4 elements in the studio: the mind map, the type of reports that we can generate, flashcards, and quizzes that can be generated and you can provide for your students through this notebook for them to actually practice. They can always ask on the chat about the content. So that's another way for them to dig deeper into the content. But you can generate a mind map that's going to provide for them a quick visual way to explore, but also to ask questions about any of these elements. And that mind map is based on the sources that I selected. So this is something that we all as faculty excel. We can curate the sources basically that we create our notebook with. Remember, if you were not in the session about Notebook LM, you can actually access it and you can actually learn the bare bones of how to use Notebook LM. It's very intuitive, but it's also, like it takes some getting used to. You can create reports for your students. You can create a study guide. You can create your own report. So you can actually create a study guide that is leaving enough gaps there for them to know where they need to do more work. So you can model part of that. You can create a briefing document that kind of like breaks down the structure of that content for them and say, this is a document you could generate for yourself, you could improve on once you know more, and it helps you to study. You can generate flashcards, and here a lot of it goes in the prompting. So the more you use it, the more you will become knowledgeable of what kind of prompts you really need for that. But you can select more or fewer cards. You can select the difficulty. You can start actually generating some entry-level flashcards, medium difficulty, and then hard. And students can actually do that, can actually practice on easy, medium, and hard, and can see if they really have done their job and have learned enough to get to the hard level. And then you can actually create a quiz that follows on that. You can create an easy level of difficulty quiz. You can create a medium or a hard quiz. And if you put all these elements together into a notebook, you tell them how to use the notebook, what progression of things to do first. Look at the mind map, explore a little bit how the topics are. Look at the briefing document that gives you a quick overview of the content, or the video overview, audio overview that you've created over those materials. And then challenge yourself with the flashcards after you've done some reading on the topic and you've done your own work in these ways. You are giving students basically a whole scaffold of how to actually use this tool to improve on their study skills at the same time that they are also learning about the content. So that could be the use of Notebook LM to improve that metacognitive knowledge that they have, while also helping them with the content that you want them to actually learn for your course. Going back into our presentation, the next step will be showing you a tool where you can be much more granular. You can really, really design a very customized tool. And you can do this in many ways. You can use Copilot to create an assistant for your course or your content. You can use UTHSC to create an agent that specifically addresses the issues or the elements of your course. And with those two tools, you'll be able to load documents that are very specific and that really, really have the backbone of knowledge that your course, the back structure, the background. I'm not using any of them because that will take a little bit more time. I want to show you a tool that we've been using that help us create customized chatbots without going into privacy issues, just general oriented chatbots that can help us help our students in that case. So this tool is called Build-A-Bot. It's from Stanford University. And basically, you do not need to create any kind of access. You go into bot101.app and it shows you, like, do you want to create a bot? Do you want to see one from the gallery? Every bot that's created, it's publicly available, but it cannot be edited unless you have the specific saving code that you get at the end of creating one. And that saving code is what you use to get back into your bot and edit it. But once you create it, it's available to everybody. That has a lot of caveats, but at the same time, you do not get to load private information into the bot. So you do not get to load files or things that basically trigger the privacy concerns that we may have. Why we are using it is because it's going to help you learn about prompting in a very, very intuitive way. It basically creates an interactive platform where you can literally drag and drop elements, write things, and then test it right away and see how the bot will react to the kind of questions that you want your students to be able to access. But today I'm using it because it also allows for you to create a process. So you can model the process that students need to follow to really know if they are ready for a topic, to learn more, what to do when they're stuck on a topic. So I'm going to show you how to use Build-A-Bot, and I'm going to show that by going to their setup. Should be able to see now my screen with the Build-A-Bot interface. This is the basic Build-A-Bot interface. This is your dashboard to create a new bot. As you see, you can either create a new bot, you can publish the bot that you're creating to the gallery, or you can go to the chatbot gallery. We'll visit it a little bit in the end. So you see that there's thousands of bots there created, both by students to help them self-study a topic, or by instructors, even like student success coaches that are trying to create a bot to help people out or students out, and at many levels. So this is the way you build your chatbot. These elements here kind of like tell you what a chatbot needs. It needs for you to define what the chatbot will be acting like. It will need for you to define who your users are, what kind of tone, personality, this is the personality element, what kind of learning theories you want built into the bot, if any, if that's important, the process, which is going to be where we do more emphasis today, and the scope and limitations if you want to build any on them. So, my persona setting gives me here, I can define exactly what mindset I want. I can write it here and it will be entered into the chatbot. So I'm going to be assuming the mindset of student success coach in a higher education institution. And I can be more precise. I can say a higher education health sciences institution. So now that I have these, I basically, sorry, put it onto the chatbot, and now it's become part of that. I can add more things to the persona. I can add already some predetermined ones. I can add, what kind of teacher will it be? If a teacher is the thing that is the persona I wanted to act like on, and then I can give it just the role. But I've already done that in my persona. I can also define the tone, but I will do that later. For the potential users for my bot, basically, I want to add age group. So these are going to be young professionals if I have that level, 30 to 55 if I have adult learners. Young professionals is going to be a good, for now, but I can be more precise. I can say, my users are going to be, you will assist health sciences students in a pharmacology course. Okay, so that's my user, and I can actually put it here. So now all these elements are part of the chatbot. I could test right now what it could do with some questions, but I'm not ready yet. I wanna add some more things. For the tone, I will say, use a inquisitive and curious tone. It's going to be part of my modeling, curiosity for them. I can also add, like direct and brief if that's what I want it to do. And then I also can give it, embody a tone that it's, and then give it some adjectives. That's something that you can do with practice. My main element, it's going to be right after we add some learning theories. I think that from learning theories, I'm going to go with, cognitive load theory is good to know for a success, student success coach. I can also add metacognition because I want my model, my chatbot to actually go with that. And the process is where a lot of the magic for this bot is going to begin. I'm going to tell it to begin by asking what what topic or lesson they are going to be studying, or they are having trouble learning. So that's my main part of the process. It's going to start doing that question every time the students interact. I can now go into, uh, defining the process a little bit more. So first identify the goals for the session, then provide strategies. So that is already predetermined in this bot because it's a very common way to look at a task and break it down. And that's what the bot is going to do. Then I can tell it to, what to do next. After it's done that, then basically next, those students to provide a plan for their coursework on the topic and how they are going to study. And that allows me to establish kind of like a sequence for that interaction. And then finally, I'm going to tell it to provide some strategies. So finally, provide strategies that can be helpful to study the content, the topic, and address the problems reported. So that is now my process for this bot. And if I type my message and I say, greetings to my bot, it's going to start behaving. So the first question out of the get-go is, what topic or lesson are you currently studying on your pharmacology course? Or is there a specific challenge you're facing? Let's explore how can I assist you with that. So as you see, the bot is already on the point. Now you can add scope and limitations. I'll let you to explore that on the, on the spirit of time, but it's basically letting the bot what not to do. So don't go into personal conversation. Don't go into giving medical advice or anything like that that you don't want the bot to be giving. That is where you define the scope and limitations. If you want to see them in action, the TLC created the TLC teaching companions using this tool. So these are 3 bots that we created to assist our faculty with active learning when they are creating a course, and they want to include active learning where they are designing a course with active learning. With course design in general, you're doing a new course, you want to actually have some support with that. And with universal design for learning, how to use the basic universal design for learning components and elements to help you out. So you got a whole page with those 3 bots that are there to assist you 24/7. That was the whole point of creating them. Let me get back to the presentation to close. So basically, we have covered two different ways really to support metacognition and self-regulation. And basically, it's one of the things that for me is important for you to remember is in order to do that, you need to be intentional about that. So there are not tools generated so far that can do that job. So you need to become the expert that actually creates the best support for your course, and both be intentional about supporting those logistic elements about planning for your coursework, your study, being aware of what the different tasks are, being able to understand the task well, so you can actually create, your assignment and then know the feedback of the assignment, how it really helps you become better at doing that kind of assignment, but also in advancing the knowledge that you have as a student. Be transparent in the fact that you're using these tools. Be mindful about their limitations. The tools are limited on what they can do. We as professionals are the creative element behind that. You are in control of all these tools and you can make them work for what you need. You need to put some time in getting these elements put together. Yes, Simone, quickly, the interactions with the chatbot that we built are completely private and based on the instance. They cannot save the interaction. If they want to save the responses, they need to actually copy paste the text. Once they move away from the bot, the bot closes and then it opens a new instance the next time that they access. So they cannot keep even the conversation going unless they keep the window open forever. So, and the interactions are private. They are instanced to be a private conversation between them. Model the use of these tools for students. So if you use Notebook LM to show your students how it's better to study, tell them that they can actually create their own notebook for studying for the course with the different topics. They can load the different elements of the different materials, and they can actually do that on, like by themselves. And then ask them for feedback. So you can actually adjust these tools as you are progressing through your course. I'm closing very quickly because I'm already taking one extra minute. If you got time, please give us some quick feedback about this session, but also this series so we can continue improving. You will receive a message, an email with this link as well, and the toolkit following our session. And the session will be it's been recorded and it will be posted with the other sessions for you to access at a later time. You can see all the other sessions also at the AI in 30 page that the TLC has. I'm going to stay in the room if you got questions, and we can talk for, as long as you want. But, I wanted to make sure that the session stayed at the 30 minutes. Thank you so much all for joining us today. And I hope that you keep exploring these tools and you keep actually finding new uses. And when you do, check back with us. We love to actually see what our faculty are doing with different tools and how they are promoting and helping them with their, study, teaching and learning needs. Take good care all and have a good afternoon and rest of your week.